All right, so let's go head-to-head for the Giants and the Eagles coming up this weekend. Shaun, who's the first matchup?
Yeah, we got a little trench warfare right here.
Well, we're looking at Azeez Ojulari off the edge against right tackle Lane Johnson. Now, Ojulari came back from a calf injury, missed most of the season, 58% of the snaps against Washington, so that was a nice surprise, and he had a big game, obviously forcing a turnover on a sack. But the thing about Johnson, three-time Pro Bowler, 10 years in the league, he's about as good as they come. In 11 straight games against the Giants, he has not allowed a sack. I'll tell you something, Shaun, they got to worry about this guy.
Welcome back, Azeez. A big game back last week, and he's going to need another big one this week, Paul. You just mentioned it against Lane Johnson. He does not give up sacks. You can see right here on the season, hasn't given up a sack, hasn't given up a quarterback hit all season long. So he's playing at an elite level right now. I think for Ojulari, the one thing he's got to really capitalize on is his speed. Not just the speed, but the fact that he hasn't played a whole lot of football. He's got some fresh legs compared to some of these other guys. So the speed is going to be a factor for Ojulari. He's got to get on the edge right here because Lane Johnson, 437 pass blocks this season alone, and to not allow either one of those right there is pretty impressive. I think Lane Johnson doesn't get enough credit for how athletic he is. He's got a great punch. He's got great footwork. So you've got to work your moves. You've got to work your speed move. You've got to work your counter move. Always have an answer because he has really good hands. So look for Azeez and look for that good hand-to-hand battle.
Now, knowing that Johnson's so good at protecting the quarterback and the fact that Hurts likes to run around a lot and you got to worry about his legs, do you pull back a little bit on the pass rush to be more containment?
Well, I don't think you could pull back on it, but I think you have to be aware of if I'm going to do an outside rush, I can't just run by and let Lane run me past the quarterback and now he could step up because he can absolutely hurt you. When you're rushing a guy like Jalen Hurts, you've got to keep one eye on him in case he tries to escape the pocket.
Yeah, one other thing to keep in mind, last year Johnson caught a 5-yard touchdown pass against the Giants at the Lincoln Philadelphia.
We don't want to see any of that, Paul.
Definitely not. Isaiah Hodgins, though, Giants wide receiver, had a big game last week against former Giant James Bradbury. Now, in each of his 4 games with the Giants, Hodgins has caught at least one pass. Last week, it was first career touchdown, which was very nice. Bradbury, 2 years with the Giants before going to Philly this year. He's second in the NFL with 14 passes defensed. It will take a lot to beat him.
I mean, he's a good talent, as you were saying, he's long, athletic, uses his hands well, so, you just have to stay disciplined in your technique, and we talked about that a little bit in the wide receiver room, so, you definitely got to bring your best against both these corners, whether it's Slay or Bradbury, so definitely good talents, it's gonna be a good matchup.
Now, I wouldn't ask you specifically what your fellow teammates may have told you about him, but because he was a Giant in the past, can that help you research-wise?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, there's a bunch of little cues and, stuff that you could get from different players around the league or, different people here who maybe coached with him or played with him and stuff like that. So, you try to get as much information as you can, watch as much film and, do as much studying and preparation as you can. And then, when you go out there, it's about execution.
Isaiah Hodgins has really impressed, not just with his route running in the end zone with his touchdown catch, but after the catch, the 3rd and 10 last week against Washington where he willed himself to the first down. I think we're going to need all of that again. You mentioned the matchup against James Bradbury. When you look at some of his stats from the season, 3 interceptions, one of them is a pick 6. But really when you look at James Bradbury as a corner, just 20% of his snaps have been press coverage. So a lot more zone coverage. You're going to see him playing off a little bit, which is really going to challenge Hodgins and his route running ability, but also his ability to find space and sit down in these zones. I think when you look at Bradbury, look, he's playing at an elite level, and I think when you have the defense that the Eagles do, with on the other side, he's got Darius Slay. I think that if you're a quarterback, look, you're scared to throw at both of these guys. So you've really got to do a good job of running precise routes and making sure you give the quarterback your chest and give him an open target to throw the football to.
Yeah, it's a tough task. Bradbury has been targeted 66 times this year and only given up 1 touchdown pass and only an average of 8 yards a reception. Well, that'll do it for Head to Head this week.